Welcome back from the break. You're watching Pyari Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki Pyari Batain from the platform of Geo Islam. So before the break, we were talking on Pyari Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki Pyari Batain about the hadith which tells about doubt, to how to leave doubtful things even if they concern us. Because if we leave doubtful things, it can make our religion and our honor blameless, as it is said in hadith number 6. So now this hadith is another important hadith. We have to leave things which we have to do always things which will benefit us in the hereafter. Because, it is said in Surah Hadid that this world is pomp, play and amusement. Laibu wa lahwu wa zinatun wa tafakhurun bainakum wa takathurun fil amwali wal awlad kamathali ghaysin a'jaba al kuffaru nabatuhu. So it says that this world is pomp, play, amusement. This is just play and amusement. This world is just a test. And then it is said again in Surah Taghabun that indeed your wives, your wealth, innama amwalukum wa awladukum fitna. They are a trial. This is worldly life is just a trial. So of course it tells that how it is a trial. So that's why we should always do things which make us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should always do those things which are nafi for us, which can have a benefit for us in the hereafter, so we can have more good deeds in the hereafter. We should have good deeds in the hereafter, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us Jannah in the test, if we succeed the test. Now, this hadith is narrated by Abu Huraira, Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar al-Dawsi, as it is said. We know he narrated over 5,000 hadith in the period of 3 years. And I've told in one of the previous programs the other day that how he managed to narrate so many hadith. So عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حسن الإسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه رواه الترمذي وغيره هكذا. Now, this hadith, let me translate it for the better and broad understanding of this. It is narrated by Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that part of perfection of somebody's faith, part of the perfection of somebody's faith is leaving what is not beneficial for him, leaving which is not going to benefit him. This is narrated by At-Tirmidhi and others in the same fashion. Now, what does this hadith mean? This hadith it is compiled, it's a very good hadith, it is very compact, as I told you before. It's said in various surahs, Islam emphasizes on two things mostly: doubtful matters, leaving these grey matters as shubuhat, and also just doing those things which are beneficial for us, will benefit us in the hereafter. Now, a great scholar said that there are 4 hadiths which Islam is a big part of. One hadith is this which I mentioned, min husn al-Islam al-mar tarkuhu ma la yani. And anyway, all of the hadith are mentioned in Imam al-Nawawi's collection. The second is, which is after this hadith in Imam al-Nawawi's collection, that لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. The next hadith is when a man, this is a very eye-opening hadith, that a man asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that awsini, advise me, give me some advice, give me some knowledge. قال لا تغضب. He said, don't get angry. فردد مرارا. Then what we say that he repeated it for a lot of times. He said, awsini, awsini, awsini. He repeated for a lot of times, but the same answer came, قال لا تغضب. He said a lot of times again that don't get angry, don't get angry. لا تغضب. And the last hadith is, من يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whoever believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment, in the يوم الآخر, then let him say truth or let him be quiet. يصمت. ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم جاره. And whoever believes in Allah in the last day, then let him respect his neighbor. ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه. And whoever believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the day of the judgment, then let him respect let him give hospitality, good hospitality, or let him respect his guest as Zaifa. Now, very important part of Islam, as I said, that it is, as great scholars said, that it is half of Islam, because Islam focuses, as I said before the break, that Islam focuses on two things very primarily: leaving the shubuhat, the grey matters, and doing things that are beneficial for us. Yes, this is what Islam focuses on mostly. So that's why this is said to be half of Islam. Now, let me give over here 3 aspects which can differentiate for us those things which are beneficial for us, not beneficial for us, and which are beneficial for us. Now, let's go first to the first level, which has no benefit for us. That is called a laib, which is from play. Laib. Now, what is a laib? Laib is something which will, just amusement, right? And it's not gonna benefit in the hereafter. Yes, completely firm. It's not gonna benefit us in the hereafter. Yeah, we have a lot of examples of laib. Now, let's go on to Allah. This is the second one. Yes, it does have some benefit in this world. This worldly life, it has a little bit of benefit. But it sometimes can distract us to, something which, it distracts us from the bigger benefit. Yes, it is beneficial for us in the worldly life, but it can sometimes cut us off from the hereafter. Like it is said in Surah Takasur. The whole Surah Takasur is based on that. Alhaakumut takasur hatta zurtumul maqabir. Everybody competes in worldly life, in this, money, rivalry of collecting money. Zinatun wa tafakhurun bainakum wa takathurun fil amwali wal awlad. Yes, this is what is the main of love. I can give another example over here, love. And another, it said in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, this is another big matter, that at that time they used to beat the tambour, the drum, to drive the people away from the congregation, the ceremonies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That it said that they used to, give the love, they used to, play the love, and then they used you, and they then left you standing alone. They left you standing alone. But then say that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward, that is better than min Allahwi wa min at-tijar. Wallahu khairur raziqin. Now, if you see, that is love. I'm going to give you another example, as we're going to come back to that example. Like, if there is an exam, a paper, and it is about medical, okay? But, we are reading the history books, okay? We are reading the books of history instead of being supposed to read the medical. That means that it is more like, yes, it does have benefit for us, but we are using the wrong key in the wrong door, the wrong ridges in the wrong door. Yes, we will get a fail. We'll get an F grade in the medical, because we are studying for history. We are having some benefit, but we are not putting the right benefit where it has to be. We are not putting it in the right slot. So we should always put it in the right slot. And this is also cutting off us from that benefit. And that is the same thing. Love, this cuts us off mostly from the benefit of the hereafter. Like this worldly life is a test and a love in itself. It's a love in itself. And this worldly life might cut us off. It is said in Surah Al-Ala that indeed they love the worldly life. And then it is said again in Surah Al-Insan. It is said in Surah Al-Insan that indeed they leave this, prefer the worldly life, and they leave yawman thaqila, a very heavy day. نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم. We have created them, and if we will, وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا, we can change them. We can give this power to somebody greater. So this is saying this is what is love. Now we are coming to the last part of this, which is nafi'. Now what is nafi'? Nafi' is simple. From the word we can get it. That it is something which can benefit us. Yes, like of course praying. Praying, that is salah. Praying salah, that is benefiting us. Praying fard, the obligations, something which is obligatory. Doing that is gonna benefit us. So we get the meaning of nafi'. And even for extra ajr, we can do the liked and recommended things. So I mean, if we have to summarize this whole hadith, what we can say about this hadith tells us, emphasizes us to mostly leave the worldly life, just beat the worldly life, but not leave it completely, but just keep remembering that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. He will trial us on the day of hereafter. That's why we should always be pious, we should do good deeds, we should complete the obligatory, and for extra ajr we can also do the recommended things. So, and then we have also learned today about the three types of importance, al-laib, wal-lahab, and the nafi'. So I think this has been a very important lesson for us. So this is all for today, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the knowledge, He gives us the power to understand this and to do amal on this, to act on this. He blesses us Jannat al-Firdaus. He keeps us on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, just like He brought us from min az-zulumati ila an-nur, from darkness into the light. He guided us on the right path. So the next hadith which we will learn, we will understand a wide variety of aspects as how to, respect our Muslim brothers, how our Muslim brothers are also important. And it's again one of the 4 hadiths which it was mentioned by a great scholar. So as I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us obtain and attain Jannat al-Firdaus. Rabbana atmim lana nurana waghfir lana innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. Rabbana la taj'alna fitnatan lillazina kafaru waghfir lana rabbana innaka antal azizul hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.